And we're good.
Hello and welcome to the Spaghetti Junction podcast. My name is Bruce.
My name is Gareth.
After a delay. But we talk about things
I had
we
to
just
put
don't.
my hat on.
Oh, that's also true.
I had to put my hat on because I can't really say my name until I'm feeling more comfortable. So my hat has to be on at the right place before I can say it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there we go.
And we talk about things we just don't know where they're going to go.
No.
So yeah, our conversation.
I was going to mention one thing quickly, and there is no answer for it. But I've seen that our views have declined to such a point that I think our last episode got like 3 or 4 views. I'm like, either people are getting bored, or our topics are sucking, or maybe it's a mixture.
Or we're being shadow banned.
I don't think we're that good. Not yet.
Well, remember, YouTube once didn't want us to be happy. Hey, remember that one?
That's right. Yes,
I think YouTube is still butthurt.
Yeah, I don't know what
they hold a grudge.
Now, I mean, I know it takes years for like anything to become really, really good. I'm just curious as to if we need to relook at certain topics, or if there are just going to be some that's just going to bomb, just because because it's just not that interesting or exciting. Maybe that's
also true. Yeah,
but I mean, we have the small amount, but to us it's pretty good. 75 subscribers, and if only 3 are in touch with what we're doing, I don't know. It just made me wonder, like, are we missing something? Or, I mean, we have fun no matter what, obviously. Maybe it's just about you and me right now.
Maybe.
I don't know. But anyways, if somebody is actually, and they have thoughts about it, write them in the comments. We always want to know how to get better, maybe what topics didn't work, and we just don't go around them for a while. I think AI, I think people were like, AI, we've had more than enough of AI. So maybe that was like, okay. I don't know. It's interesting. That was what I wanted to bring up right in the beginning.
Okay.
And I'm done. Thank you.
Okay then.
Great. On to the topic.
So Gareth and I were having a conversation the other day about you sent. This basically started with you sending me the trailer of a documentary that I hadn't seen.
I thought was something else. I thought it was completely different. So I was like, "Who's Blue October?" It's like, I definitely sent you the wrong one. So I won't take any credit for it because I got it wrong.
Okay.
I thought it was completely different. I don't even know who they are.
Yeah, so Gareth ended up selling me a trailer for so it's a documentary called Get Back Up, and it looks pretty cool. I'm quite keen to actually see it. And it's about a band, and specifically about the lead singer of this band called Blue October, that I really didn't know too much about until I heard the chorus of their one single, and I was like, oh, I remember these guys. And they had a single out called Hate Me, and I think it did the rounds on radio in South Africa a while back, but I never really got into them. And it's basically just it's one of those one of the stories that we hear a lot about someone who's, a singer who lives the rock and roll lifestyle and then gets caught up in drugs, alcohol, all the partying and stuff, and then actually,
Blue October.
Yeah.
Because they kept telling us they're to be superstars. Don't tell somebody that.
Justin was always different. He had a different light.
They always knew my head and heart was different. My head was dark. And my heart was much, much bigger.
I always found myself feeling like there's a cloud over my head all the time, and the only way that I could ever feel good about it was to get on a microphone and sing. I just remember hearing and going, wow, this is amazing. This guy's on a whole nother level.
You'd have people come up, tears in their eyes, or ask him, how does he know the things that I'm feeling that I won't tell anybody?
I remember getting a call from Doug Morrison. He said, better hold on, boy. If any of this stuff is true about what these songs are about, you better hold on.
From Houston Touches, Blue October.
Sold 500,000 copies, sold 1 million copies, sold 1.5 million copies.
It was ridiculously awesome.
And then, that all fell apart.
Somewhere along the lines, being away from home, he started getting into some deep stuff.
I went nuts.
Klonopin, acid, Vicodin, oxys, heroin. Come on, just stop.
I gave him an ultimatum that you have a choice. You can choose drugs or you can choose your family.
Don't you think it's time to unlock the door?
We're in a church. We're in the house of music.
We all want to be inspired. We want to be touched. We want to love. And music does that, doesn't it?
It's a vessel for me to stay on this earth.
So I raise my hand in praise. Pray for the words I wish I could erase.
Blue October is not just a band. It's everybody. It's a lot bigger than just 5 people.
We get to be fathers, we get to be husbands, we get to be artists. And the great thing about it is, there's always hope.
Yeah, so that's the trailer of the Blue October documentary. So the lead singer, who now I forgotten his name, Justin. Damn it, I had it.
I can tell you right now. It's okay. We'll. This is how we work on we don't know where it's going to go. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
What I wanted to mention on that is that so his name is Justin Furstenfeld.
There you go.
What it didn't really get into is his how he got out of the drugs and how he met God. And it didn't really push a lot into that in the trailer.
And that's something I actually thought about. So
that was the big part of it, I think. And for some reason, they didn't really address it a huge amount.
This is something that's very interesting, and we can unpack this part of the conversation as well. Is that we're specifically going to look at a couple of artists who are proper born again, accepted Jesus Christ into their lives, born again Christians, you get a lot of artists and that kind of thing who say yes, they believe in God, but they kind of skirt around the issue of Jesus. And that's always a catalyst. Like, okay, cool. You talk about faith, talk about spirituality, talk about believing in God. That's great. But when it comes to the absolute fundamental of the Christian faith is your belief in the fact that God came down to earth as a man, Jesus Christ, who then performed miracles, then died on the cross, and then was resurrected 3 days later. 100%. And that's the fundamental of Christianity. And what's it? It says, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. An acceptance of what Christ did for us. And some people, it's amazing how often Jesus is not mentioned. But then you've got some guys like who we're going to talk about, where they are absolutely 100%. You can tell that they are that they have that they've taken all the steps. So
because what we know is, and I would imagine that a lot of people will know, within music, it's because a lot of and we discussed this in one of our previous episodes, but about how as humans we were made to worship something, someone, and how many of the bands or the lead singers, whatever, have fallen onto drugs, and it's been like as in really badly, for example, this story from Blue October. And also though, the multiple stories where they've hit that rock bottom, but at that bottom, they've actually realized they cannot do this anymore and they need a hand out. And that's when they realize, oh, God is actually real. And I think that's a big story, a big part of it that maybe a lot of people don't really look into or talk about. But sometimes when all the worship and all the fame is knocking on the door of a human and you can't really handle it all, that's when it falls apart. But that's also where you can get from the falling apart is actually sometimes where God meets you, kind of thing. Yeah.
It does the narratives of most of the people is very much a descent into drug and alcohol abuse and all of that kind of thing. It's like you don't hear stories of successful rock bands and they're living this really, really good and clean life and then suddenly decide to become a Christian. I'm sure that happens, but they fall apart and they hit, like you said, hit rock bottom and their life is just, and then they have that wake up call.
Yeah.
And that's very often what it's in a lot of people's lives, not just famous people, So the other person we were chatting about just in our conversation, one of the main guys we want to talk about is Brian Welch, the guitar player, one of the guitar players from Korn. And a lot of people know his story. I mean, it's been a couple of years now, quite a few years now since he sort of became a Christian, but he really took it to the max with regards to like ministering to other people, and he and it's pretty crazy that you don't often hear about someone who's in such a successful band going fully into the ministry side of things. You hear about the fact, okay, they've turned their lives around, they've become a Christian or whatever, but he went full on into spreading a message far and wide with his solo projects, with all kinds of things that he got involved with. So Brian Welch, I mean, he was one of the founding members of Korn, which became one of the biggest bands of the early 2000s, created a completely new genre and style of heavy
rock,
music.
Yeah.
And I mean, those guys were together from when they were, teenagers and that, and then it was also, I think, with a lot of these bands, it's that whole like too young, too much, too fast type of narrative where, everything just comes together. They're in the right place at the right time. And it's just before you know it, you're on a tour bus or you're touring the world and you've gone from 0 to 100. And, along with all the trappings of that. And Brian became heavily addicted to crystal meth. And along with, and then there were, the whole band was doing crystal meth and whatever. And then they decided, they thought as a band, like, listen, we just got to get off this. So we'll go. So they decided, okay, well, we'll just do cocaine when we're on the road. We won't do crystal meth.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, like that's a better thing. And it got to the point where Brian just said, I can't. And he literally called out to God, and he said, God, if you're real, please just take this away. And he eventually, it was affecting everything. It was affecting his marriage. He had a young daughter at the time, and he was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this to my family. Yeah. And then it was big news when he announced his resignation from the band. and it caused quite a big rift between him and the band for a long time. But he realized he had to kind of do what he needed to do, and then fortunately now those issues have been resolved. He's actually back in the band, but Korn is still making music.
It doesn't make sense to me at all why he went back, because there was a reason why he lost where he just completely went off the rails. And
I think
become a Christian and Korn on the other side. You know what I mean? It doesn't equate.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit tricky to sort of get your head around that. And it's actually, he's not the only Christian in the band, because the bass player actually became a Christian as well, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found an interview online. I won't play it all, just a little bit of it, of Brian Welch. Like I say, I won't play it all.
And he just said, "Look, man, if you're on drugs, if you're messed up, if you're..."
Oh yeah, this is when I watched as well.
You come to church while you're messed up. Yeah. Bring all your garbage here, and God will come in and clean you out. I was the type of guy that, would flip through the channels and be like, land on TBN or a Christian channel and be like, and who knows what I said back then.
Right.
But just, mocked it or whatever. And then, fast forward years and years later, I got to this point where I was on that 2-year binge, right? And I wanted to get clean. I had talked to a couple outpatient rehab places, one in Bakersfield and one in Hollywood. And they both were telling me we don't have as much success with meth addicts as we do with other drug addicts. And I'm just like going,
wow.
So what are you telling me? Well, what can you do for me? And they're like, well, we can try, we just have to be honest with you, and you can do it. You can, if you set but I wasn't given like a lot of hope, and so I was just thinking like, because by that time I was like, I do not want to exist anymore. I'm a shell walking around with nothing of substance inside. And I got all kinds of money in the bank, but I just don't want to wake up when I go to sleep. I just wish that I could just stay asleep. And, and the only thing that made me want to breathe and live was my daughter. So I'm thinking, I just need to get off the drugs, and so I could just be the best person I could be for her. Mm-hmm. But then I would have the thoughts when I get back on the drugs or do another line, and that would wear off. I would think, man, she'd better off without me. And I'd start going through the suicidal the thoughts and everything. And so it was a tug of war. But I told you that I was a functioning drug addict. I had these partners that were doing real estate deals. They were buying land and developing, and I became a partner with them. And money was like my thing. I never liked to spend it. I always liked to make it grow. That was my thing before. And so these guys were growing their money, and so I blended right with them. And so I was attracted to them and their business through that, and they actually were Christians. Wow. So God was using my money idol, if you will. Right. And so and
there's more to it.
Yeah. That's actually a very good interview. It's about 3/4 of an hour long though. But it's,
this one is only 5 minutes and 48 seconds.
Oh, that's obviously just a clip for it then, because I was watching the whole.
Yes, it's a clip of it.
Yeah. I think what you're saying earlier, it's a struggle to sort of equate sort of Brian going back into Korn. I think what you'll find is, if a band is carrying on, obviously everyone's older and they realize that they made bad decisions or whatever, and then they can also make the decision to sort of clean up the entire act, but still be able to create good music in that style and not live that kind of lifestyle. You can still be a rock band and not,
yes, true.
And that kind of thing. And then
about what the message was in Korn as to moralistically and so forth, what they were selling, so to speak.
Yeah,
I always thought that Korn was a little bit not bad, but not hugely Christian.
No, they never were. But you know, you can. I think you can sort of be a Christian within a secular band and
Oh, most definitely. Sorry, my
have
point
that.
is more as to what the belief system with Korn is. Again, it's
Yeah.
a whole other topic. But
Yeah,
I just thought that Korn was moralistically and everything was just like that's one of the reasons why he lost the plot.
Yeah, no, I think it was more just those typical trappings of the fame more than anything else.
Okay.
And then yeah, so Brian went and he did his solo thing. So his solo project is called Love and Death, and he wrote a book apparently, which is really, really. I know about the book. It's apparently a very good read. I haven't read it yet. It's called Save Me From Myself.
Okay.
And then yeah, so for a long time, like I said, it caused a lot of rifts and stuff like that because he was, you know, childhood friends with all the guys in the band, and eventually after a long time they were able to reconcile and that kind of thing and sort of be able to make music together again. So he does Korn, and then he also does the Love and Death thing on the side. But like I said, he has taken it sort of further, you know, with regards to ministry and gotten involved with different ministry projects and that, which is
I've actually found it on my library app.
Oh, okay. You know what you can maybe play.
Audio book, which is what I normally do. So I probably won't read much of it, but I'm interested to to at least see what it's about.
Yeah. You know what you could maybe find is the trailer for the documentary about him. It's called Crazy Love.
Oh yes, I saw it on there.
Yeah,
I can look for that for sure.
Crazy with a K, yeah, and that's
with a K. That's right.
Yeah,
Crazy
and that looks
trailer.
Yeah, that looks pretty good actually.
Here we go. I got it. I got it for us. Give me a second. I will pop it on the screen as we do. I think today is Brian Watch topic. Here we go.
We'll get on to a couple of other people just now.
If we have enough time, sure.
She's cute, huh? I have plenty of memories from when my dad was in Korn.
I love you, Daddy.
Peekaboo. It changed my perspective on how I saw, like, love.
Fieldy, Jonathan, and Head from the band Korn. It's like the ultimate way of everything you could ever want.
I was out there making the drinks, chopping lines, rolling joints.
I'm a new person. I'm going to be a great dad. Hey, get down, please. I'll just have a couple beers.
I saw, like, naked chicks, like, walking around.
He was a master at hiding it.
I was just scared that I was going to screw up the kid like I was screwing up myself.
I had addiction to methamphetamine.
All of the other kids had their mom and dad come to Mother's Day or Father's Day.
I couldn't stop being bad to my body. I couldn't stop these addictions. I had become an animal. I just looked up and I just said, Father, I can't pray I'm on drugs. Do anything you want to my life. How do I pay a phone bill?
How can you change so suddenly?
How do I know this is real? I have to be afraid.
He's like, Janaea, I'm quitting Korn. I'm gonna stay home. And I'm like, wait, is that even allowed?
I was devastated. God's telling me to do this, and God's telling me, I'm like,
That was an act of love for himself and his daughter.
But I immediately started making bad choices.
He had been physical, punching holes in walls.
She just couldn't connect with anybody.
I assumed things were gonna be different.
People offered her drugs and like, dang it.
I got physical. I flipped tables.
I can't control my rage. I'm stressed out.
I just wanted someone to realize I'm hurting.
She says, I cut myself because of you.
And I said, I hate you. You're a whore.
I gave up everything for you.
My daddy was a rock and roll.
Everybody that doesn't live their life like this, that's who's crazy.
My daddy was a rock and roll.
There you go. Yeah, so I think he's definitely one of probably many success stories of how someone can actually come back from that kind of brink and still be productive, still be in the original band that he founded, but then also have this other part of his life where he's got this ministry going on. And then obviously the rest of the band members are now respectful of that and saying, listen, if we understand where you're coming from and we still want to make music with you and all of that. And that I mean, those two, I mean, him and the other guitar player, I mean, they shaped that sound so much. They're so influential, and the fact that they could still do that nowadays is great. I don't listen to Korn probably as I could probably listen to a little bit more Korn. They are good. I've got one of their albums, so let's pull that out again. Stick it on the iPod.
iPod.
Yeah, rocking old school, man. It's the Spotify stuff. Cool. So another guy that I didn't realize until a while ago that had actually really also became a Christian was the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, like of all time, and that's Brad Arnold, the lead singer of Three Doors Down.
3 Doors Down, okay.
Yeah, I absolutely love Three Doors Down. I can never get enough of them. And Brad Arnold has become very, very sort of outspoken. And unfortunately, at the moment, he's actually battling cancer. So he's not in a very good place health-wise. But he's a good old Southern boy from Mississippi. And he was always brought up in the Christian environment, church environment, all that traditional. But obviously, also, 20 years old, Three Doors Down went on the road. He wrote that song Kryptonite when he was 16 years old. That's crazy. I didn't realize that. And then, at that young age, being in a rock band that's getting that kind of success, obviously things spiral out of control. And but now he's very much vocal. I mean, even in Three Doors Down concerts when he was performing, he was very vocal on stage, about his faith and all that kind of thing. So I don't know what the latest is with him at the moment. I do know that, I think health-wise, I'm not too sure about how bad things are with the cancer, but he is battling it at the moment. So, but I was quite impressed with that because, I mean, Three Doors Down songs have got a way of just ripping your heart out. And they really do. I mean, Gareth knows I'm pretty emotionally stoic most of the times. You put on the right Three Doors Down song, and I'm like listening, man. I'm like crying in my car kind of vibe, where no one can see me. So yeah. Another guy that a lot of people would be very very surprised to know, and he actually became a Christian all the way back in the 80s, was none other than Alice Cooper. Pretty much what you would, people call him basically the godfather of shock rock, from his on-stage antics and stuff like that. And his show is still the same. You go to Alice Cooper to watch a spectacle, but he's actually incredibly vocal along with his wife. If you watch interviews with him and his wife, they've been together since they got married back in the 70s, and very, very staunch, genuine, down-to-earth Christian couple. And he cannot stop talking about his faith in God and how God has helped him throughout his career. It's like, and it's just very interesting. You kind of see that persona of Alice Cooper that everyone thinks he is, but then when you hear him talk, you're like, wow, okay. So there is a way that you can actually do both. And Alice Cooper's a character. He plays a character on stage. He plays a character in his albums and stuff like that. But the fact that he's actually been a Christian for so long, I mean, through the 80s, that was probably his sort of pinnacle of his career.
I never knew that.
And he is still going. I follow one of his guitar players, this wonderful girl. Her name is Nita Strauss, and she's an incredible guitar player.
Wonderful
and
girl.
She's been in Alice Cooper's band for a long time, along with 2 other guitar players. So so he's still touring regularly. Every now and then puts out a new single. So yeah.
Wasn't he the one who like bit heads off birds or something like that?
That was Ozzy.
Oh, that was Ozzy. Okay,
that was Ozzy. Yeah, and and talking about Ozzy, I've heard. I was hearing things that God rest his soul, passed away 2 weeks ago. He actually did acknowledge Christ on his deathbed. So I've got a feeling that good old Ozzy is now in heaven.
How do you know that?
I heard that was some of his, when he was on his deathbed in his last sort of final moments, I think he did make an acceptance of Christ. So the Prince of Darkness might actually be in heaven. So yeah, that was a sad week, man. My word. Anyway, but so yeah, so just on a how much time we got? No, too much time.
Another 8 minutes or so.
Yeah. Okay, so just a couple of sort of quick mentions. And look, you think what you will about certain people, but and yes, they, you hear weird stuff about them in the press and whatever like that. But even someone like Justin Bieber, love him or hate him, he's definitely expressed his faith. He's been pretty vocal about his faith in God and the fact that he attends Hillsong Church and stuff like that. And another person is West. Think what you like about Kanye West. I know the guy can be a bit kooky every now and then, done some weird stuff. But he's also very vocal about his faith. Who else have we got? I didn't realize that Bob Dylan actually also sort of back in the 80s also became a Christian. So Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. Actually, 2 of the guys from Megadeth, Dave Mustaine and the bass player Chris Ellefson, both became Christian. Yeah. So Dave Mustaine, another example of the fact that you can be in one of the biggest heavy metal bands in the world and actually still you can meld that along with being a Christian and having faith, and all that kind of thing. So yeah.
Nice.
Who else have we got? What was there? It was Alice Cooper.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's more than who you would think.
It's more than you think, yeah.
Yeah, and remember, these are specifically people who go further and say they don't just believe in God, they have gone the route of I believe in Jesus.
Yeah,
and that's a very, very important. Sort of distinction to make, because so many people.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, so many people say, and I want to thank God for blah, blah, blah. But it's like, how many people actually mean that? You know what I mean? Actually understand what they're saying and actually for reals, that's what they mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You go up and you accept an award, and it's very easy to just go, I'd like to give all glory to God or whatever. Great. That sounds awesome. As opposed to someone like, let's go the actor route and say Chris Pratt walks up and gets an award and say, I'd like to thank Jesus Christ for everything he's done for me in my life, because that's his belief.
A whole speech, yeah.
Exactly. And then you know, the whole of Hollywood hates him, and he's still one of the most successful actors out there at the moment. You know, it's like, okay, you know, you know.
100%.
So when someone can go up there in that kind of environment and actually acknowledge, just go one step further and acknowledge Christ as opposed to just acknowledging God, because so many, you know, for so many people, God can take on so many different forms. You know, you have, people think that, you know, just God is just all encompassing of everything. Or then you get the Muslim faith, which believe in Allah, you get, you know, all these different things. And then, but like I said right at the beginning, you know, the fundamentals of the one fundamental of Christianity is the fact that God came down to earth as a man in Jesus Christ, and then died for our sins, and then was resurrected. And there you go. So yeah, it's just interesting to it's good to know. It's good to it's encouraging. It's just it is just sad that most of these stories are the catalyst for a lot of these people coming to faith is hitting rock bottom from a drug and alcohol abuse standpoint. And
Sometimes
having that crisis and having that moment of clarity where, like, flip, if I don't do something, I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna leave people behind that really love me. So yeah. So there you go.
Nice. Well played, sir.
That's all I've got
researched.
to say.
Well researched.
Yeah, man. Cool.
And it's a very powerful thing, especially when I guess because my view, when I hear of a band like Korn or Megadeth, I think lyrics might and their belief system might be contrary to what Christians believe in. But from what you're saying, see, because I don't really know their music, so you know, I mean, I'll take your view on it. But I guess that's where I go with, like, from what I understand of Korn and Megadeth and Black Sabbath and all, is that the initial thoughts is, well, their story and their background would not equate to someone who's a Christian. But obviously, I don't know them well enough, though. Yeah,
I mean, just an example. You take there's a Metallica song called "Creeping Death" off one of their earlier albums. Absolutely epic song, and it's straight out of the Bible. It's the song. It's the song about the angel of death that passes over, that comes from Passover, you know, and taking the Egyptian firstborn sons. That's the whole song. It's straight out of the Bible. You're like, okay, you know. But anyway,
I guess for me, you can do that. But I guess, we'll wrap up. I guess for me, though, it's by their actions. So
no, absolutely. I mean,
they may have a song that's directly out the Bible, which is cool. But then it's like, well, you know, it's how they show it out, you know, on stage or at home, or, you know, their lyrics and so forth. So it's very interesting. And it's unfortunate that sometimes people have to hit the like a rock bottom thing. But I mean, it makes me think of, I was watching a video of a worship band who went through to one of the local prisons, and they had a you know like a service kind of thing, whatever you want to call them. And the guys there weren't a huge amount, but the guys there, they were like singing "How Great Is Our God," like passionately. And I look at that and I say, God, if you can reach someone who's, whatever choices they made, you know, whatever happened, you know, and they're now in prison, you know, or with the banned things, you know, on drugs, somehow that's where God's, I think when you're at such a low point, it's like there has to be something more than what I'm going through, kind of thing. And that's hope. That's hope.
That's it.
I mean, and that's exactly what what Brian Welch mentioned as well. He said that he had just lost hope. He had lost everything. And it's very dangerous when a person loses hope. That's when there's danger. That's when it's like, all right, God. That's when someone is like, okay, I don't have anything else. There must be something else. There must be something more because I've just lost everything. Yeah, it's very scary when you lose hope. And that's where thankfully God has, has been found multiple times and made it happen forevermore, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Cool. Well, this has been the Spaghetti Junction podcast. Please like,
Indeed.
comment,
Hope you enjoyed
subscribe,
it.
and share. And and we will catch you guys in the next one.
We will indeed. See you guys later.
Have a good one.
Cheers, bye.
Cheers, guys.